A very good afternoon to all the students and a warm welcome to one and all present today for the online lecture of third year BCom semester 5 for the subject management. Now students, we have been discussing quite a lot in the second unit of management in so many lectures. We have talked all about knowledge management. I hope you remember the different contents that we have already covered in this chapter particularly. The focus for today's lecture would be to understand the final topic in knowledge management, that is to understand implementing knowledge management. How does knowledge management gets implemented finally? That is something what we have to discuss today. So with this, we are actually going to finish the discussion on the second unit of knowledge management, being the last lecture on this unit particularly. I would spend some time to show you at least what all we have covered in the entire unit. So in case you have failed to attend some of the lectures or missed out on any topic, you can at least get an idea of what we have covered already. So students, we had started with the discussion on the meaning of knowledge. I had explained you the different forms of knowledge. So you can see the 8 types that we had discussed. I also gave you an understanding, a broad understanding on the concept of knowledge management as to how it is created, utilized, stored, and distributed. We studied about the different goals of knowledge management, that is to achieve a competitive edge, enable good decision making, solving the problems, and thereby enhance organizational performance. We discussed a very interesting topic on how information value gets transformed to the knowledge value, or basically, how does the double spiral movement take place between the implicit and the explicit knowledge. We understood its 4 modes, namely socialization, externalization, combination, and internalization. So we saw how the implicit knowledge ends also with the implicit knowledge in the same double spiral movement that you see. So we had understood the same in all the 4 modes. We thereby understood the different features of knowledge management as to what is characterized by knowledge management. So we had discussed them all in detail. Thereby, students, we discussed a topic on the methods of acquiring knowledge as to who could be the external sources of how organization acquires knowledge from them. So could be the customers, could be the suppliers of the business organization, could be the competitors themselves, could be the partners or the strategic alliances of the business organization, could be the mergers and the acquisitions, and could be the experts from whom the knowledge could be gained by an organization. So students, with this, we had also discussed in the previous lecture the entire process of knowledge management. I had explained you how the process begins with identifying the knowledge required, how thereby it is acquired or generated, whether from the internal sources or from the external sources, whether the implicit or the explicit knowledge. We studied how it is codified and documented, how it is thereby utilized, and lastly, how it is transferred also, not only internally in the organization, but also externally. This was again an important topic that we had discussed. So I hope that you remember the same. Finally, in the last lecture, we also discussed the different benefits of knowledge management. That is to say, the different values one could receive or the importance out of knowledge management. We had discussed how it helps us avail the benefits of competitive advantages, helps us even compensate for the loss of downsizing, helps to save the time, energy, money, helps you do innovation, to take matured decisions, solve the problems correctly. So students, I hope that you are by now clear with whatever we have discussed in the previous lecture. We have discussed about all the different aspects of knowledge management, covering each and every content in the unit. And I hope that you have been attending all the previous lectures. So by now you are very well clear with every topic that we have discussed. Now moving to the last and the final topic for the second unit, we are now going to talk about implementing the knowledge management. That is to say, how does knowledge management gets implemented? Because so far we have discussed about the meaning of knowledge. We know what is knowledge. We also know what is knowledge management. We know how the knowledge is acquired, how is it stored, how it is utilized, how it is even transferred from one person to another. What are the different forms, whether it is implicit knowledge, whether it is explicit knowledge. We by now know the entire process, I can say, of knowledge management. We also know how far knowledge management is beneficial, what all importances, what all advantages can one grab from the same. But now, students, you also have to understand that knowledge management is not something that is to be just remaining on paper. It is not a kind of record keeping that once done, it is not to be taken up again. One needs to even monitor its implementation. Knowledge management is not just creating, utilizing, and storing the knowledge. You also have to implement the knowledge management. You have to see how far was the knowledge management beneficial to you. So you need to now understand the different steps with which knowledge management is implemented and how can one also measure the performance of knowledge management. That is to say, how can one know whether knowledge management was beneficial or not. The students, today you are going to understand the different steps for how knowledge management gets implemented. So before I actually explain you the implementation of knowledge management, I would like to give you a simple understanding on what are we going to study in this topic. So students, when I talk about knowledge management, the instant definition that comes to your mind is knowledge management is required for maximum utilization of knowledge. Whatever knowledge is possessed in the organization, whether by the employees or by the database of the organization, that is to say, whether it is implicit knowledge or whether it is explicit knowledge, you need to make maximum use of that knowledge so that you can achieve some of the other objectives, whether you want to achieve that competitive edge, whether you want to take good decisions, whether you want to solve your problems in the most right manner, or whether you want to enhance your organizational performance. You need to make a maximum utilization of the knowledge. But implementing knowledge management would help you understand, would help you measure whether the knowledge has been managed well or not, or whether we have to still work on it in some or the other way. You need to first of all determine the objectives as to what are the things we want to achieve through knowledge management. There has to be some targets, there have to be some objectives or some purpose behind which we are undertaking the management of knowledge. Because without knowing objectives, it is just like moving on ahead without knowing the final destination. So you need to understand the objective at first, and thereby you try to work on knowledge management. You design an entire system on how knowledge would be managed, and thereby the work does not stop there itself. You also have to measure the performance. You have to assess how the knowledge management has been implemented, and thereby you need to compare whether knowledge management was helpful to achieve your pre-designed goals or objectives or not. In case there are some deviations, in case the objectives are not fulfilled to the optimum level, there are some shortfalls that have been traced out, one also needs to take a remedial action by either bringing a change in the knowledge management system or modifying it altogether. So this is actually a continuous cycle that keeps on going. And about this cycle, we are going to study in this topic. So let me give you first an understanding on what are we going to do. So students, as you can see, measurement of knowledge management means measurement and assessment of the performance of knowledge management. As I say, knowledge management is not an end, it is means to the end. You want to achieve something and for which you are making use of knowledge. In case you want to measure the knowledge management, you are basically measuring, you are assessing the performance of knowledge management. How far did it help you achieve the objectives? So knowledge management system is created and implemented for the achievement of clarified objectives. Objectives provide the standards for the measurement of the real performance or the progress made by the implementation of knowledge management. Basically, if I explain you, objectives would be the basis. It would be the route from which you can decide how you have to manage the knowledge, how the implementation of knowledge management would take place. You are designing a knowledge management system, you are implementing the same so as to achieve some objectives. Because in case you don't have a goal in mind, you don't have any objective, it is of no use to manage the knowledge or no use of utilizing the knowledge. So objectives are just like a standard which would help you measure the real performance. In case you have implemented knowledge management, now you would check whether objectives have been achieved far more than expectations, or actually they have been realized less than what was expected from them. So thereby students, as I said, it is a whole cycle. So try to understand it now in a cyclic manner. Performance is measured. We are talking about the performance of knowledge management. Shortfalls are traced out. That is to say, now you would compare it with the standards, with the objectives laid down. In case there are some shortfalls, you need to make an assessment of the situation, and if required, if warranted, objectives can be redefined or the changes can be introduced in the system. We are talking about the knowledge management system. So students, simply to say, you have to set your objectives, you have to work on the implementation of knowledge management, and thereby find out that if you are lagging behind, if there are any shortfalls traced out, either bring a change in your objectives or bring a change in the design of knowledge management, because either your objectives are unrealistic or there is a fault in the design of knowledge management system you have framed. The design of the system, implementation, measurement, and assessment are the parts of a continuous cycle of implementation, measurement, and assessment. So it is basically these steps that follow each other in a continuous manner. Moving further, I can give you the explanation of the cycle once again, one by one. That is to say, first of all, the design of the knowledge management is built. Of course, after setting the objectives, you would now build up a design of knowledge management. How would the knowledge management work? You would implement the same, because it is not something to be remaining just on paper, and thereby the performance is measured. So students, now the measurement is analyzed. Once you have measured, you would analyze the same. You would find out if there are any shortfalls, if there are any deviations, and thereby you either bring change in the design or you can also redefine the objectives. Because either there is a fault in the objectives that you have set already, or there is a defect in the knowledge management system. So I hope now you have understood about the entire continuous cycle, that is to say, implement the design, that is to say, first create the design of knowledge management, implement the same, measure it with the objectives or the standards set earlier, and thereby do an assessment whether you want to change the objectives or you want to change the knowledge management system. So students, having understood with all the steps and having understood with the entire cycle of knowledge management implementation, now we understand each and every step one by one to give you a better understanding. As I said, the first step, the very first step of knowledge management is basically identifying the business objectives. You should have some objective in mind, some goal or some purpose for which you are implementing the knowledge management system. Because when you are undertaking knowledge management, when you are collecting knowledge on something and you are making a utilization of the same, there is always an objective behind it which needs to be fulfilled. Could be improved performance, could be improved quality, bringing out new innovations, increased quantity of the production done, maybe performing at a reasonable price, maybe achieving the competitive edge, taking matured decisions, solving the problems. So there are a number of objectives that a business has in its mind for which knowledge management system is designed and implemented. So the first and the foremost step would be to identify these objectives. So students, you can see that performance of knowledge management is measured in the light of achievement of business objectives. So firstly, identify those objectives. Now, what could be these objectives over and above what I have told? There could be many other. It could be firstly, as I said, to get the competitive advantages. You want to achieve the competitive edge. You want to survive in this competitive environment. It could be either through a better quality, improved efficiency, you are innovating something new, you are giving something extra to your customers, and thereby you are customer responsive. That is to say, you are identifying their needs and thereby you are working for its satisfaction also. So it could be one of the objective. Another could be problem solving. That is again an objective. You want to solve the problems faced. You want to take matured decisions. You want to create an environment which is conducive to the creation of new knowledge and innovation. You want to retain the talent. So it could be any objective. It could also be encouraging knowledge sharing by the employees. So there could be number of other objectives too. That basically is the base for creating and implementing the knowledge management system. So this is the first step. Before we begin the implementation of knowledge management, you need to have the goals in your hand, because these goals at the last of the process would form the standards for measurement. When you are doing measurement, you are actually going to consider these objectives and then decide whether we have surpassed those standards or we are still lagging behind. Students, with this comes up the second now, and you very well know that once your objectives are designed, you now need to design your knowledge management system. You need to frame such a system of knowledge management that would lead you achieve the business objectives. But of course, there is not one clear cut design that one can adopt. There are a number of alternatives for designing a knowledge management system, but an organization's achievement should be to implement the best possible design. So after clarifying the business objectives, alternative knowledge management systems are designed. As I said, it is not a one design that one can just adopt and select. There are a number of alternatives. So they have to be designed first of all. The component parts of the system may include Chief Knowledge Management Officer, could be the Knowledge Management Committee, could include the IT infrastructure also. Even information technology plays a very important role in designing the knowledge management. Basically helps you grab the knowledge. Could be the local area network, that is also known as the LAN network. Also could be the WAN, that is wide area network. Could be internet, could be intranet, that helps you transfer the knowledge between the branches or the plants of the same company. Or could be extranet, that is exchanging information between the company and its supplies or the customers. So either you want to connect internally or you want to connect externally, but all such information tools also prove to be a part and parcel of designing the knowledge management system. So students, first of all, we have designed the objectives. Secondly, we took on the different alternatives for designing the knowledge management system. But as I said, we need to select the best design, the best framework for knowledge management that could be implemented in future. While you are selecting the best design, you need to see to it that the design helps you utilize and generate the knowledge in the best possible manner. It should be such a system that enables giving the right information to the right person and at the right time when the person is in need of it. So, students, for the purpose of execution and operations, the best design is to be selected. The system of framework which is the most efficient in connecting the people with expert transferring the expertise simultaneously, and getting the right operational knowledge to the people in the field when they need it is selected. So you need to understand that out of all the different designs, all the alternatives that you have, the one which is the most efficient, which can help grab knowledge not only internally but also from the experts, and thereby helps you giving the knowledge to the right person at the right time whenever they need it, becomes the best design for knowledge management. Could be the enterprise architecture, strategy capabilities architecture, business architecture, information architecture, data architecture, etc. Could be any one of them, but the one which provides the best facility for people to people interaction, that is to say, knowledge sharing and people to content interaction, that would be selected for the knowledge management implementation. So students, what all we studied up till now, number one, we have designed the objectives to be achieved through knowledge management. Number two, we have laid down the different alternative designs of knowledge management. And number three, we have selected the best design which would enable one-on-one interaction of knowledge amongst the people. Students, the fourth point, the fourth step brings us to deciding what should we measure. Now we have selected the design of knowledge management, so definitely we are working for its implementation as well. But you need to decide what should we measure now. And when I say what should we measure, we are actually going to measure the objectives that were to be achieved once the knowledge management has been implemented. You need to see whether what you have achieved is above the objectives laid down, at least as per the objectives, or below what was expected to be achieved. So you need to decide what should be measured. So naturally, the outcomes leading to enhanced organizational performance should be measured. So what all things you had pre-decided to be achieved would be measured now. It would include an easy and online access to database or the central repository system. That is to say, knowledge sharing, people to people interaction, generation of new knowledge, innovations, use of information technology, etc., leading to achievement of organizational objectives that could be better quality, improved performance or efficiency, maybe lower cost, maybe customer delight. So you have number of objectives that you might have decided well in advance. You need to achieve those objectives through knowledge management. So the same thing has to be measured also. So for measuring the various aspects of performance, one should set the standard measures. As I said, the standards are laid down in advance as to regarding the new product development, maybe development of new products, new methods, reduction in the time period of production cycle, the innovation, the output input ratio, cost of production per unit, the number of repeat orders, the rate of return on investment, and whatnot. Basically, all these are the objectives that you might have decided in advance. For example, you take up an objective of bringing out some new method of production, or you are taking an objective of producing more. You want to increase the productivity. So at the end of knowledge management implementation, you would measure whether the objective set in advance is achieved or not. And after you decide what you have to measure, that is to say, you have understood which objective was to be achieved, and now you are able to decide what to measure, you still have to work on collection of information. Now, what is this information we are talking about? You have decided the objective and you have also made a design of knowledge management. You are working for its implementation as well. But students, when I say we are going to measure the standards, we are actually going to measure the actual information. What is actually achieved needs to be measured with the standards laid down previously. So information about what actually has been achieved, what actually has been fulfilled needs to be collected. It is only then when you can compare the actual with the set standards and find out the shortfalls or deviations, if any. So students, after setting the standard measures, that is to say, after setting the objectives, what is to be achieved, what we desire to measure, we have to collect information from the internal and the external sources. You can either collect it within the organization, you can also make use of the external parties, and thereby you collect information pertaining to the objective that was to be achieved. Let us say if my objective in an organization was to improvise the quality, then one could have collected information from the customers through feedback whether the quality was actually improvised or not. So the collected information would be compared with the set standards or the past performance. That is to say, whatever we had decided to achieve in advance would be now compared with the collected information. And after that, the measures are analyzed as exceeding the set standards or falling short of expectations. You have to analyze what has been achieved, whether you have surpassed the standards or whether you are lagging behind, so that the corrective steps can be taken. So students, what all we studied up till now, we have we have first of all set the standards, that is to say the objectives were designed. Thereafter, we decided as to what should be the alternative design of knowledge management. We thereafter also decided the best design of knowledge management. We decided what has to be measured, and for the same, we also worked for collecting the information. So students, now number 6 would be the implications of measures. That is to say, you now have the data on the objective also, that is to say the standards also, what had to be achieved. You also have the data, the information on what actually has been achieved. So now you have measured and compared both of them. Here comes the assessment part, understanding the implications of the measures. That is to say, either you have lagged behind or you have gone beyond the expectations. So after analyzing the measurement of performance, we find that in certain areas the performance is poor, and in certain other areas it exceeds our expectations. The areas of poor performance are the stumbling blocks for the success of knowledge management. So you need to pay attention to those areas where the performance is poor, not those where you have already exceeded the expectations. The reasons of the poor performance should be traced out as to why are we facing these shortfalls. They may include, maybe you are using obsolete knowledge which is completely old and outdated, lack of knowledge sharing, decision made without use of supporting knowledge, or there are defects in the system. So on the basis of performance measurement, assessment is made whether knowledge management will be successful or not. So I hope that you understood even this aspect. Students, it brings me to the last aspect of the implementation of knowledge management. That is to say, we have by now set the objectives also. We have designed the best knowledge management implementation design also. We have decided what we have to measure. We have collected information also, what we have achieved. Lastly, we also measured both of them and we assessed whether we are lagging behind or whether we are ahead the expectations. Now, as I said, we have to pay attention to those areas where the performance was poor. We need to now bring a change in either the objectives that you have set or either the knowledge management design or framework that you have made yourself. So either the objectives were unrealistic and therefore it couldn't be achieved, so modify them, or either the design of knowledge management itself was faulty and defective, so bring a change in that as well. So if the performance assessment indicates that in order to make the knowledge management successful, certain changes are required, then required changes are made in the IT infrastructure or the tools used or the sources of information or in other parts of the system, or the measures and objectives may be redefined. So you need to bring a change, you need to decide whether there is a defect in the system of knowledge management, in the design of knowledge management, or in the objectives that were laid down. So in this way, the knowledge of performance measurement is used in redesigning the system. You redesign the system, but again it will be implemented. Again the same thing, that is to say performance to be measured, assessment to be made, finding out the shortfalls. So the cycle continues. Performance measurement of knowledge management ensures its success. So once you implement the knowledge management, you are measuring the performance of knowledge management. It will help you understand how far knowledge management was successful, how far was it worth enough to be taken up. So students, I hope that you understood the last topic also that we discussed, a quick overview on all the steps that we have discussed today for the topic of implementation of knowledge management. So students, I hope that you remember the topic very well. We understood about the continuous cycle, that is to say, framing a design, implementing the design, measuring the same, and assessment. We decided firstly to identify the objectives of the business organization. Could be many objectives, so they have to be designed because they prove to be the standards for designing the knowledge management system. Thereby you have to decide the different alternative knowledge management designs which are available. There could be many of them, but you need to select the best design, the best framework, best in the sense which enables you having a one-on-one people-to-people interaction, helps you share the knowledge and makes the knowledge available to the right person at the right time. You need to decide what should we measure, that is to say which objective to be achieved and which objective will prove to be a standard of measurement. You collect the information about what actually has been achieved, you compare both of them, and thereby you find out the implications of measurement, whether it is poor performance or whether we have surpassed the standards. In case the performance was poor, you can bring a change either in the objectives or in the design of knowledge management. So students, on this note, that knowledge management is a means and not an end, a very nice quote given by Bill Gates. As I also said from the very beginning, knowledge management is not something to be taken up and put forth. It is not an end in itself. It is a means which will help you achieve the end, which will help you achieve the business goals, the business objectives. And we have been talking all about that all this while also. So students, with this, we come to the end of the second unit also of management, that is knowledge management. Out of the 4 units in management, we have finished with the first 2 units, which we have discussed much in detail. We have discussed in first unit all about risk management, and in so many lectures, particularly, we have discussed the second unit also, that is knowledge management. So students, now, in the next week, what I have planned is that before we would start with the third unit of management, that is a learning organization, we would first be having a revision week sort of a thing where I would be revising the 2 units once again in some 1 or 2 lectures, so that those students who joined late, or maybe you have missed out on some of the topic, or maybe you still have some queries or doubts pertaining to any of the topic of these 2 units. So I shall be giving you a brief overview, a brief revision on the entire chapter that we have done, that is to say risk management and knowledge management also, that we have finished today. So once again, you will be able to brush up all what we have studied up till now. And students, after having the revision lecture, you will be having a quiz to be put up in the Google Classroom. So in our scheduled lecture itself, you will have to solve the quiz as well on the topic that we shall be revising, whether risk management or knowledge management. And the information about it will be put well in advance in the Google Classroom. So students, with this, I finish today's lecture and today's unit, that is the second unit, knowledge management. For any doubts, any queries, feel free to ask them in the Google Classroom, and I shall be answering to them at the earliest. See you soon in the next lecture, where we shall be revising the topics of the first unit once again. And also I shall be providing you the notes for the second unit also. First unit is already provided to you. The notes for second unit will be provided to you quite soon in Google Classroom. So until then, happy learning.